What's going on, Nerd Nation? Welcome back to the newest and most improved episode of the Comic Book Nerd Nation. I'm not really sure what we've improved.
We got rid of Brian.
You're here. I wouldn't say that's
No,
improvement. Come on, that's not an
Well, I
improvement.
mean, hey, that's what changed. That's what changed. I'm just saying.
So-
It didn't change.
Anyway,
It's just-
I'm Fox 2. We got the Pirate,
hey, and Chris Topher does not know his Megadeth.
and we have Topher as well.
What? Yes, I do.
And
No, I quoted Sweating Bullets, and you quoted a different song.
Yeah, I like that song. It made me think of it.
Oh my god.
I didn't say the two were related.
I thought you
And-
was going off Junction. Sorry. I apologize.
Okay, are you guys done with that? All right. Unfortunately, Whole F and Brian is not with us. He's MIA. We can't get a hold of him. I don't know. So if you're listening to this, Brian, sorry we missed you. Let's.
I can try and do two roles and fill in as a Brian stand-in. I can be the whole Poop and Brian, and we can talk about, Superman v Poop v Batman, Dawn of Poop,
No.
pooping, poop,
Okay.
poop.
We can't bash a man who's not here or make fun of him.
Yeah,
No
that's-
dog be pooping.
Yeah, that's not cool. We're not doing
He
that.
does like poop.
So let's jump right in and talk about what we've been reading. Topher, what about you?
Oh boy. So this week, let's see here. In preparation of knowing that he was going to ask me this question and making sure that I had an answer, about an hour ago, I I read Grayson.
Oh yeah, I read
that up-
that too.
I
What
picked
did you
that
think
up.
of it?
Did you?
Shit.
I thought, I don't know. It was okay.
Oh, you got the pink cover? I got the other cover.
Oh, I don't know. I got the only cover that I saw on the shelf.
Yeah, there was
There
like
was
two.
another one?
It was like there was like two standard cover options available. I think.
Oh.
No, this was the only one I saw. So I got that one.
So after reading that, do you think you know Dick?
Yeah, have you seen the this is really clever. I was telling Pirate about this. A lot of the other DC books have an advertisement in them this month or this week for the Grayson series, and it's got a big picture of Dick Grayson holding a gun sideways for some reason. I don't know
The
why.
kill shot, man.
Yeah,
Because it's cool.
he's holding it gangster style. But it says, "You think you know Nightwing, but you don't know Dick." And
That's funny.
I thought it
I
was
like
an
that.
incredibly clever
That's pretty
marketing
clever.
campaign for the Grayson series. But what did you think of the book?
So this advertisement, would you say then that it was a dick pic?
It was a
Ooh.
dick pic. Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's
All right.
also clever. I will give you points for cleverness now.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
Um,
clever. All right, I'll take it.
You always take dick pics.
Yeah.
Um, So
And he takes
That's
anything
nothing new.
Dick related.
I thought it was decent. It was interesting. Clearly, they're trying to set a lot of stuff up. Again, me not being incredibly familiar with the entire DC universe, I felt like there was like some name dropping, and whenever they do like a new series like this, where there's like clearly you got to introduce the players in the new book,
Yeah.
And I never know, is this a new character? Is this somebody I'm supposed to recognize? Does this mean something? Like they threw a couple names around like they meant something, and they went totally over my head. So I'm like, I don't know if that's supposed to be
There was a couple
somebody
names.
or...
Yeah, there was a couple names that I didn't quite fully get, but I still thought that the book was a good book.
was the only person I knew in this. The only thing I know is Dick in this. So
Pretty familiar with Dick, huh?
I've spent a lot of time looking at Dick in
In other magazines.
and
You
yeah,
can't say that one. You fucked up.
Yeah, I don't think you can dig yourself out of that hole. Anytime you say you spend a lot of time looking at Dick.
Even if you're
I-
referring to your Dick, you're still fucked.
I was doing that on purpose. Just saying, I've spent a lot of time looking at Dick. That one was familiar to me. But no, there's like another dude in here, like Black Oak, Black Oak. I don't know who the hell this guy was.
Yeah, I don't
There's
know who
some.
that is either.
There was
Blackwood
the
Dick.
talking referring to somebody as matron. I thought maybe it was going to be like an oracle kind of thing at first, but I don't know. Apparently it wasn't. And then the other woman that he's working with, like she says her name at some point, and
Oh,
I
she's
don't know,
that's oh, what's her name from? She was in the Arrow.
something
Yeah,
Bertinelli, Valerie
Bertinelli.
Bertinelli,
Valerie
something like
Bertinelli.
that.
Oh, that's the
Not
Huntress.
Valerie Bertinelli.
That's the that's the Huntress.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not Valerie Bertinelli. Helena Bertinelli.
Helena. Yeah, Helena Bertinelli.
Helena Bertinelli. Okay, yeah, no, I did not, I didn't pick up on that. Now that
Yeah.
you mention it, because I never really knew her that well anyway. But
You
okay,
don't know her like
So-
he knows Dick.
exactly. I mean, if it's between some random woman and Dick, well, I'm gonna
Clearly, you're more familiar with.
The man's going with
Dick
Dick.
than the woman.
correct.
He knows his way around a good dick a lot better than any woman.
And then at one point he mentions somebody named Nets, and he says something about you're every bit the genius your father was, and I assumed that was supposed to be like some sort of reveal or something, and we're supposed to know who this mysterious Mr. Nets may have been in another life somewhere. I don't know, but it meant nothing to me. The story itself, though, I mean, it was interesting. They're clearly a different take. I mean, it's an intro. They're setting stuff up. There was nothing necessarily earth-shaking or I mean, it was very much an intro story. So I guess we'll have to see where it goes. I watching him with a gun though, like I mean, he didn't use the gun. Like, well, the only time he used the gun was to throw it and bounce it off a lamppost and hit some dude with it, which was kind of cool. But you know, he doesn't ever fire the gun. But it's weird seeing anyone in the Batman family with a gun. You know, because
Yeah.
it's
I liked it, but the one thing that I'm not really sure about from that story was how these agents have this implant that allows them some kind of power of hypnosis type of control or mental suggestion or whatever. I don't know. How I feel
well,
about
it
that.
seemed there were two things. There was the they were talking about the hypnos, which I don't know if it's like a training thing. Like I don't know if it's an implant.
I think they said
or,
something in there about it being an implant, but it takes
Well,
some
they-
level of experience to like learn how to really control it.
I could be wrong, but they talked about the hypnos as more of a training thing. I don't remember if they said that was an implant. They mentioned like a personal scrambler thing that was an implant.
Oh
That
yeah,
apparently
the face,
makes their
to where people can't remember their face.
makes their face like unrecognizable to electronics and not remember the people that see them won't remember their face. So I don't know. It was kind of weird. Like the one guy that they showed though, like the guy who's like I guess running it. His face was all like it was just like
Twisted.
a weird
Yeah.
nondescript like
Circle.
spiral kind of, you know, which is amusing because the name of the organization is apparently Spiral. So I don't know if that's where the name comes from or not, but yeah. So I mean, they haven't really explained much of anything. It's an
Right.
intro story. It's a number one. They set a lot of stuff up. It might be interesting to see where it goes, but you know, right now it's just introducing a bunch of stuff that they haven't explained yet. So it'll be interesting. I just hope they don't try and make it, you know, like a Winter Soldier knockoff. You know, like it seems like they're kind of, you know, they were mentioned like brainwashing and stuff like that. You know, I hope it doesn't become a situation where, you know, like Grayson gets, you know, brainwashed and becomes a, you know, a servant for this terrorist organization and all this stuff, and you know, like I don't know, because that would seem a lot like the like they're going the Winter Soldier route.
Yeah.
They're taking the grown-up former sidekick of a major hero and making him a super spy and giving him a gun and
It
yeah,
feels
so
yeah, it already feels
there's
Nick
there's
Fury.
it already feels like a lot of parallels with Winter Soldier. So let's hope they can keep it unique.
What else have you been reading? Anything else, or is that the?
Um, I picked up Grayson this week. Read it
I
and
see the pink cover.
yeah. You can
Getting
also
this
see that
funny sense of deja vu.
you can also see that the pages are kind of like wrinkled at the ends, like they're like fanning out. I'm pretty sure it's because when I read it in here, like I have no air conditioning right now, and it's so hot and humid in here that the pages are all like fanning out, like as I'm
Oh,
trying to
one
read the
good thing
frickin' book.
about reading digital.
Ridiculous.
Digital is good.
Yeah, digital is good.
What
'Cause I have
about
no
what about you,
AC
Pirate?
either,
What have
which
you
is
read
weird.
this week?
Well, I started to try to read the beginning of Uber again, and this time I was sober, and I still couldn't do it. I don't
Really?
know. I start to read it, and then I'm like, this kind of,
It's
I don't
extremely
know.
text heavy.
It's not that it's text heavy. I just don't. I think that it doesn't flow very good. I don't know,
Pirate's
like
always been a bigger fan of the pictures than the words.
right. If they popped up out of the page, it'd
He
be
do-
awesome.
he doesn't like books with too many words.
Yeah, that's words are stupid. But also I read so I put that down and picked up Batman Absolution, um, which is different. It's
What is it?
first
I'm
of
not
all,
familiar with that.
let me see who wrote it here real quick. Let me get the.
Is that like an older
It's a
graphic
graphic
novel or
novel.
something?
Yeah, it's
I don't think I've
J.
ever heard.
M. DeMatteis and Brian Ashmore's the artist. And the art I am not a fan of. It's very pastel, like almost chalk-like drawings. Like I don't know if you can like see. Is that if you get a sense of it at all?
Yeah, I can see a little bit.
It's very like that's kind of colorful, but
It's
the
very
darker stuff,
soft. Very.
yeah, kind of a lot of
Huh.
show shading work. I don't know, but anyways, it's different, and the villain isn't a normal criminal that I've ever read. Her name's Jennifer Blake, um, and she's just a regular person. She's just into like terrorism at the beginning. She like blows up one of his buildings, Wayne Enterprise buildings, and kills a bunch of people and injures a bunch, and kind of and Batman's on this mission to like hunt her down, but she keeps bouncing around, and he's basically doing detective work to different people, and it ties in that person, so it does a lot of like flipping around in timelines. I think the actual bombing is like 10 years previous to where the book's at, and then it'll jump like 7 years before, 5 years before. I'm halfway through it, and it almost gets confusing because of the bounce around and because of the way that you kind of float back with his memories and then someone else's memories, and they kind of mesh a little bit. It's pretty good though. I mean, it's getting better. When I started off, the art was kind of pushing me away from it, but the internal dialogue of Batman was really good in this one, I thought. But you don't see any costume. He's the only one in a costume I've seen so far. There's no crazy villains, or there's multiple villains, but they're not like masked, or they don't look anything but human. It's pretty interesting, but it's definitely I had never heard of it. I just was like, oh, I'm gonna give it a shot. And
Nice.
so far, I'm on the fence with it so far, but
Yeah.
we'll see how it ends.
Hell yeah. Let's see. I read Grayson for starters. Like I mentioned before, Batman Eternal, which I'm thoroughly enjoying that series. If you haven't already started it, I would highly recommend it. I read the new Green Lantern, which was the end of the Uprising story arc and leads into the next story arc. I liked it. It was different. Not as good as some of the Jeff Johns stuff that I've read, but I definitely want to keep up with Sinestro books and the Green Lantern books leading into this fall when there's supposed to be the huge crossover event across all lanterns. Just because I want to know what's happening going into it. So I'm definitely going to keep reading those. They're not bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just Jeff Johns set the bar so high on some of the Green Lantern stuff that I think it's really difficult to... It's just a difficult act to follow, to be perfectly honest with you. Then I read Savage Hulk #1, which, excuse me, I honestly didn't even realize was coming out this week until, or last week? When did that come out?
Which was it?
It's sitting on
Which
top
one?
of Savage Hulk #1.
It came out, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, and I didn't pick it up till this week. But
I picked it up too.
yeah, I read
I
it.
had to.
And
It had the classic X-Men on it.
it's really good. I really, really liked it, and I'm really intrigued with where it's going to go. I don't know if this is a direct tie-in with old X-Men books, which I think is a possibility. And once Topher reads it cover to cover, I think we'll be able to get a much better idea about that. But it's really cool because it's like a time warp back to the classic style. Even the artwork looks a little bit closer to older comics, and the costumes, like all the X-Men costumes, like Jean Grey's costume is the old one with the yellow mask and the green suit. Everything is like the 1960s. Is that correct? X-Men? Is that right? Tony?
Yeah,
Late
that would've
60s,
been-
early 70s time frame.
Let me think about that, because if you look like right inside the cover, the first page kind of gives you like a recap of some old stuff.
Yeah,
And in that issue they show there, X-Men #66.
that's the one
that
you were
was
telling me about.
That was the last issue of the X-Men in the late '60s before it went, or maybe it was '71. I
Is that
don't
before
remember.
Neil Adams took it?
No, this was actually right after. This was like the end of. I don't know if Neil Adams did this one or not, because he did the ones in the early '60s. The numbering that is, issue like 60-ish. This was the last issue before X-Men got canceled and went into reprints for a long time. So this might actually be new stories for the X-Men as well, because this kind of picks up right where the X-Men got canceled the first time around.
Interesting.
So, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, so I don't know exactly, where it leads into. But I do know that issue they talk about where the X-Men track Bruce Banner to Las Vegas to try and get some information out of him. That was the last issue before the X-Men got canceled. I think Neil Adams was actually off of it by that point. I think he had moved on to something else. But yeah, now I'm even more interested about it.
I did read it, and I really liked it. And the premise was kind of that somehow, I may have to read it again, knowing, after hearing you talk about it like that, or maybe even go back and read that issue of the X-Men to kind of get a preface. But basically the premise is that Bruce Banner saved Charles Xavier's life through something that he developed around gamma radiation. I'm not entirely sure on, I read it pretty quickly, so I really need to go back and read it, but I do recall that I really enjoyed the story, and I'm excited to see where it goes, because it's the older X-Men. It's a definite, tie together. It's a crossover that you're not really overly used to seeing. There's these certain crossovers in the comic book world that we're so used to seeing all the time. Like Green Lantern. We were talking about Green Lantern before. you always see like the Green Lanterns and the Red Lanterns, the Green Lanterns and the Larfleeze, the Yellow Lantern or Orange Lantern, the Sinestro Lanterns and the Green Lanterns. You always see these crossovers. You know, Batman and Nightwing. Clearly, they're both in the Batman family, so you always see them working together. But you don't necessarily see a ton of Hulk and X-Men together in the same storyline. So I'm really looking forward to reading further into that series. It'll definitely stay on my pull list as long as it goes. I mean, I'm a huge Hulk fan, so we'll have to see where that goes. But that's about it for what I've read this week that I can remember. Let's jump over and start talking news. You guys, let's talk. Pirate, you've got something about Superman or Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice.
Yeah, I got two things.
Now, is this first of all, is this confirmed or is this like
that's
rumored?
what I don't know because I just found it today, noodling around. So I don't know if it's confirmed, but
so we'll assume that it's probably rumored.
They'll make sense. I mean, it's
we'll
all
keep spreading vicious rumors as we are wanting.
Yeah,
There we go.
It's off movie plot, which it would make sense that these characters are in there, except for one.
Movie pilot?
Do what?
Movie pilot?
No, it would make sense that these characters are in there.
No, where did you get it? Where did you get the information? Movie pilot?
movie pilot.
Oh,
yeah. Which they've been hit and miss before. Like they're I don't know, they're
all right, well,
I'm about
give us the damn information already.
Good.
Yeah,
Right, well,
out with it.
The first one is that they said is going to be in there is Victor Saz, which he's been in the big screen before in Batman Begins, and he's also been in a lot of Batman comics. He puts little tallies and hash marks on himself for his victims.
I think that's awesome. I really hope that they include him in this movie because I think he is a fascinating character that really wouldn't take that much to do. You know what I mean? Like he's not your typical superhuman villain. He's just fucking crazy, basically, which I think would make a very intriguing movie character.
And they never, in Batman Begins in the movie, they never really got into that. They just basically had him in there as basically, a Latino that is just a crazy guy that works for Falcone. And it was actually put in, I guess Latino Review is the one who's reporting that Victor Saz is going to be in it. So apparently somebody that they follow or something has been cast for it. Let's see, who else was going to be in there? David Kane, which is Cassandra Cain's father, Batgirl, and he's an assassin. So they're thinking that he's going to be put in there. Like Lex Luthor's going to hire him for a target, and that's going to be his tie-in, and then Morgan Edge, which completely makes sense because that's Lex Luthor's kind of right-hand guy. So, I mean,
Amanda Waller, too, was on the list, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And then they said that Amanda Waller is supposed to be in it all, which makes sense for as far as her to have a very small role to set up further things down the line, depending on how big they anticipate.
Do you think Argus will be a big part of it then? I mean, you pretty much...
I don't know. I mean,
you pretty much have to have Argus.
You have to have it with Amanda Waller, but how big you have to have that's what's different.
You know what I bet they do is they establish... I would think that they would use her to establish the idea that Argus initially out of the gate was a tool for basically public relations between the government and superhumans.
Or it could be set up as complete defense too after the battle that happened in Metropolis.
That's probably more likely. You motherfuckers are destroying everything. We need to figure out how to control this shit.
The initiation process or the this is what we need. The campaigning for that type of protection layer, which then could develop into something bigger, or if not, it could just be kind of a backdrop story. But the only one that I don't really I could see it being in there, but David Kane, I don't know,
I'm not overly familiar with the character.
Hire somebody to to take somebody out, and then he's just a real small part. But the fact that they have him could also set up further down the road for Batgirl too.
So, I think that would be an interesting movie.
Which would be which would be kind of cool because if Batman is supposed to be portrayed as this, older person, who's kind of been doing at this a while, maybe further down the road they're going to have a replacement for him.
Like Batgirl, Nightwing,
or Nightwing or whatever.
Red Robin. Yeah, you can see a lot of stuff there.
Right, but I mean, it makes sense to have David Kane if you're going to have Batgirl. I guess at least a tie-in of some sort. But and then Morgan Edge. That's just Lex Luthor's kind of right hand dude. Other news that kind of on Superman too is Superman's going to be an Arrow.
What?
Season 3. Just not in costume. It's going to be Brandon Ruth is playing
Clark
Ray Palmer.
Kent?
No, the Atom. The guy who played Superman in Superman Returns is playing the Atom in Arrow.
So it's
3.
not actually Superman isn't going to be in the Arrow. It's
Well,
just
it
fucking
is Superman.
the Atom is going to be in Superman.
Right, but the guy who played Superman in Superman Returns is playing Ray Palmer, the Atom. Which they're
Sounds like
also...
the kind of headline that one of those stupid news sites would post, Superman to appear in blah, 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 and then you actually read it and it's like, wait, that's not
Superman.
this.
He's playing...
I'm trying to get us hits, motherfucker. Shut up. Title this Superman and Arrow 3.
Way to bury the lead, motherfucker.
I'm telling you, just do it. Title it.
No
Superman,
shit.
Arrow 3. See how many fucking hits this video gets.
So...
Um,
well, the crazy thing about that, though, is, like, if you think about it, that is really opening up the Arrow television show to like,
here's more
crazier, like, superpowers. Like, because, the Atom, while I can't... That's...
Here's...
That's... How did he generate his powers? That's the Pym particles, right? Yeah?
No,
Who?
Pym Particles is from
Pym Particles is
Marvel.
Marvel.
No, that's Marvel. That's I'm sorry.
No, what they'll probably do, I guarantee it, in the show, is they're going to base it off the particle accelerator from Flash.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because they've also, in Flash, they also cast Stephen Amell's cousin as the Atom. So the Atom's going to be in Flash. And they've also talked about...
So wait a minute, hold on. So they got one dude playing the Atom in Arrow, and they got a different dude playing the Atom in Flash, but Arrow is going to be in Flash, and Flash is going to be in Arrow?
No.
There's going to be... There's a crossover. There's somebody's...
Not Adam. I'm not saying Adam. I'm sorry. Firestorm. I mean, Stephen Amell's cousin's playing Firestorm.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah. So, and also they've noted to a Daniel in the storyline kind of synapses, and then also Cord Industries. Well, Daniel, and then there's a Daniel, I can't remember what his last name was, Daniel something, and then there's Ted Cord, which Cord Industries is Blue Beetle. So they're going to have the Blue Beetle probably, and then on the flashback scene, since he's in Tokyo, they've also hinted that, what's her name? It could be either possible Katana or Lady Shiva. I can't remember because it could
Kombat?
be either or. Huh?
From Mortal Kombat?
No, from Batman.
I'm just fucking with you.
How many arms does she have?
That was Goro's wife, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shiva.
She had 4.
And Katana was
she was
Katana
the princess.
was like the princess, yeah.
But anyways, now that you've just whatever.
Completely derailed. On a side note, have you guys ever played the video game Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That fucking video game is awesome. Just saying.
The storyline was pretty cool.
Just hearing you talk about that shit and thinking of Mortal Kombat makes me want to fucking go get that game and play it.
Right?
Like the story mode on that shit was so awesome.
I never played the story mode.
Oh, that's where it's at, dude.
Yeah.
Because you can play both
like
sides.
The worlds collided and they ended up together, and the superheroes are like, they're invading Earth, and the good guys or the Mortal Kombat guys are like, they're invading the Netherworld, and it's
so you can play through it all the way through to the end and beat the game as Mortal Kombat characters, and then you can go back and play it again as DC, and you get you don't really understand the whole story until you do it on both sides. It's pretty awesome.
And depending on the character you choose too, because they all have different tie-ins to other to other people in the game. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely to kind of get out there on the fringe of comic book stuff and talk about some video games. It's
Which
pretty
that
awesome.
was the game that sparked the whole idea of every other year making a fighting game, like one DC and then one Mortal Kombat, because I think they're both ran by the same people now. Like,
Yeah,
so they're
they
doing
are.
every year.
And
That's why
Injustice did
Combat.
really, really well.
They did so good. They did two versions of the game back to back. They had the first one, and then they had the
Like Ultimate Edition.
with
They
like
had
all the games
for that. I
and
bought
things.
that game. I bought that game not long after it came out, Injustice: Gods Among Us, and not long after that game came out, they started pumping out like DLC micro purchases for characters and costumes, and the sheer amount of shit you can buy for that game is unbelievable. I mean, there's
Yeah.
I think there's like 7 or 8 characters you can buy, and they were selling them individually. Tons of costumes, and then
There was
they
even
had a
map packs, like fight packs.
Yeah, they actually had a package at one point. I think it's when it first came out, where you got the game, you got access to all the DLC, and you got like an arcade style joystick with the buttons that was like pretty thick, like on the bottom, like custom done, all Injustice, like Gods Among Us theme, like real nice, and it came in this giant fucking box. It was like $300 or something like that for the game, for the whole thing and all the DLC and everything like that. But yeah, that game is pretty sweet. If you haven't played that one, Topher, you would really like that one too.
Yeah, I've seen it, but no, I never played that one.
If you have, do you have a PS3?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll let you borrow it sometime. I have that one.
sweet.
Let you
Oh,
in all your free
wow.
time that we know you have.
Right.
Fox, you
I'll,
having a?
I'll put it on top of my other stack of games, my other PS3 games, still in plastic wrap.
Is that on
I bought
top
and haven't-
or underneath the
haven't had to play for.
PlayStation? Is that on top or underneath the PlayStation 2 that I sold you a couple years ago that you probably have never played?
No, my PS3 is actually hooked up right over there under my TV because
Oh,
it's also
wow.
my Blu-ray player. But no, your PS2 that I bought for the sole reason of the fact that I had started, was it Final Fantasy X, and got like all the way to the end, and then my PS2 died. And you were like, "I'm selling my PS2." I'm like, "I have to finish this game," and so I bought yours.
And then you never even
It's-
finished the game.
It's still in the box
That I
buried
sold it
under
to
the
you.
games that you sold it to me with
Oh,
in the
wow.
cabinet in the other room, and I never got around to that either.
That's awesome.
Dude, so that Injustice, that Gods Among Us battle pack you was talking about,
Yeah.
I just looked it up on eBay and I found one brand new sealed for $279.99, and then I found another one for $83.99, brand new sealed. So about to buy it. Just
Did you already
because
put in a bid on
Just
it?
Just
No,
to
it's
so you
buy
can
it
turn
now.
around.
It's badass.
So you can turn around and undercut that other guy for $249.
Dude, it's
Dude, no,
badass.
I
Like, you look at that controller. That controller is sick.
That can it reminds me of like the old like Killer Instinct or Street
Yeah,
Fighter
that's
2
yeah.
or
I mean,
something
it
like that.
it
I mean, it's
honestly
like
would almost
it
be
looks like
worth
it's like
it.
4 inches thick.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would almost be worth it just to have that to set like on your shelf with your like figures and shit.
Dude,
because
that
it's
bitch is
so
an
awesome.
8-button controller. Like,
I have to look this
That's-
controller up now.
Yeah, because we're
Yeah,
we're
it's the
clearly not
Battle
done
Edition.
talking about this yet. But it's
Right.
yeah, it's
pretty fucking epic looking, dude.
yeah, and it lights up too. It's backlit. So like the rings around the
Wait, is that like
buttons.
the joystick
Fuck me.
pad?
Yeah,
Like the freaking arcade pad?
yeah, it's sick as fuck.
And is it wireless,
Oh,
like Bluetooth?
I think so. And the ring around the buttons and
Holy
shit all
shit.
light up
The
blue.
fucking- Dude, the box that this controller comes
It's
in
huge as
is
fuck.
worth of it. Dude, it's just an awesome looking box. It's got Superman going at Batman,
That's what
like
I'm
with his
saying.
like eyes zapping, and Batman's got a thing of kryptonite in his hand. Green Arrow's kind of sprawled out, look like he just got blasted.
Isn't that that's a pretty sweet, like, honestly, like, as far as marketing and stuff goes to like people that are like myself, for example, that are big in video games but also big into comics, like, that's a huge crossover. Like, that's a big moneymaker, because a lot of us that are into the comics, we really like the collectible stuff and the artwork of things.
Was there actually an arcade version of that, or?
I don't know. I don't know that they made they may. I'm sure that they probably put it into an arcade machine.
I'm digging the classic fighting game style joystick and button layout.
It's huge.
Cool.
They have big fighting game tournaments with that game, and where you have to use the stick and.
Have you guys seen some of the custom sticks people make?
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
The Street Fighter Worlds is like probably the best one, but there was this one dude who's like this pro level. He made his own controller out of an old Xbox, or 360. So his controller is just basically a 360 arcade console. And I mean, obviously it's probably re-gutted, but it just looks cool as shit because
it's just custom and personalized or whatever.
Yeah, so they all have that. Like they show up, they bring their controllers to these fucking world tournaments and stuff.
That's the premise, I think, Topher, is that like this is to like that package is to like set you up to be able to go to these tournaments where they play this game. So you could take that controller and it would be like regulation equipped.
Gotcha.
For that game, and it's already like customized and looks cool as shit, and it fucking lights up and all that shit. I just think it looks fucking awesome. Like it's really sweet, and the game itself is really awesome from a comic book fan perspective. Like it's one thing if you're a fighting games person, but if you're a comic book fan, they've got like all the old school, all the different outfits that you might have seen a character wear through certain story arcs and shit. Like Superman has like 4 different outfits, 4 or 5 different outfits.
There's apparently an Ultimate Edition that has like Batgirl and Lobo and
yeah. Those are the characters. Those are the characters that they were pumping out on DLC like within like weeks of release, and now you can get I mean because the game is, I think, over a year old now.
Oh, it's more than that. It's gotta be, because the Ultimate Edition came out a year after.
Yeah,
the first
so
one
that
came out in November.
Yeah, so it's coming up on 2 years old then. But it's, I think you can get the Ultimate Edition for like $45-$50 now from like Walmart or wherever. But it's a pretty sweet game if you're a comic book fan and you're a video game fan. I might have to throw that bastard in and play a little bit of story mode on that.
I borrowed it from Fox, and it's fun. I mean, it's a smooth like fighting game. So
yeah, it plays just exactly like a lot of the new Mortal Kombat stuff. Which on the Mortal Kombat topic, there's a new Mortal Kombat game coming out not too long that looks amazing. It looks incredible. I actually did I think I did a review of the trailer on our website a while back, but it looks fucking crazy too.
I'm looking at a character select screen. It's a fairly impressive lineup.
That's what I'm saying. Read off a couple of those characters on there.
Based off
Let's see here. On the hero side, we got Flash, Nightwing, Batman, Cyborg, Green Arrow, Superman. Is that Raven? Maybe?
Yeah, Raven. Sure. She's in there.
Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Shazam, Hawkgirl. Then for the villains, we got Joker, Harley Quinn. Is it Solomon Grundy?
Yeah.
Lex Luthor, Catwoman, Deathstroke, some dude in armor with a big
Lex Luthor.
demonic-looking helmet.
Oh no, that's Ares.
That I have
that's
no
Ares.
Idea. Oh, okay.
God of War.
Wonder Woman.
Doomsday, Sinestro, Black Adam, Bane. That's pretty cool.
Dude, it's pretty awesome. So,
I'm just impressed that I could name all these people.
Yeah, that's also pretty awesome. Talk about on the spot, like you just didn't.
Oh, speaking of Lobo, that just dawned on me. Apparently, he's getting his own comic, and I'm not impressed with it at all from what I've seen.
Really? Fill us in.
Yeah, Lobo looks like.
Way to like build up a story and then crush it in the space of like 200
Oh, by the way, I know we're really excited about this, but it's going to be turned.
Well, here's why I don't like where it's going. Lobo looks like a villain from Metal Gear Solid. Like, I don't understand why they made
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, but he looks like a villain. Doesn't look like Lobo. But they have a character called Phobo, who is supposed to be the villain or something like that. That looks like the original Lobo. So I don't know. Maybe Lobo dies and Phobo takes over, and Phobo becomes the original Lobo. But that's why I don't like it. There you go.
When does that start?
It'll probably be after
Lobo,
September.
Lobo,
Later this
YOLO.
year.
YOLO.
YOLO.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
On
that
Moving
note,
on.
yeah, way to kill that conversation. But so Topher, do you have any other news for us?
Oh, let's see here. Well, I was reading when I was reading Grayson, they had an ad in there actually saying that there's going to be a new Flash series coming up in September, where we're finally going to see New 52 Wally West.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
Wally West was already he's in Flash Annual this year.
Oh, was he? Well, they said
Yeah.
that they were going to show the first New 52 Wally West, according to the interview in here. So apparently they can't even keep track of it. But does this guy exist in this universe? I don't know. Did you draw him? I didn't draw him. Did you write him? No, but did you ask? So yeah. But it's going to be some kind of weird time travel thing, where there's going to be like a future Flash, and then a Flash from like 5 years from now, and basically something about how
everything is 5 years with them. What the fuck?
Yeah, the speed force is like busted, broken right now or something, and anytime Flash tries to use it, he like blinks into the future temporarily, and he comes back and he like everything was gone, like the whatever he was trying to do, it's after that and back in current time. So he basically can't do that anymore because he keeps skipping into the future. Meanwhile, future Flash somehow comes back to try and fix everything that went wrong during these time skips where he had gone into the future, like from back when. And so like time travel. So this is going to be really complicated. But
here's my thing. They're going to have this huge run of all this fucking, like, the year-long stuff like Futures End, Batman Eternal, and they're going to have the 5-year over, stretch, and they're going to have this huge change, and then they're going to, again, because of Flash, erase everything. I guarantee you, like, all these times...
Wouldn't it be funny if they ended up putting it all back?
Oh, fuck you, DC.
Oh, wow. Just erase New 52 altogether.
Ready?
New 52 will be from this day on old 52.
New in 20... damn it, that's what I was going to say. New in 2015 from DC, old 52.
Oh, man, that would be miserable. Okay,
they're going to be like shoveling all this shit out, all these weekly fucking issues. Everything's going to end up a weekly issue. Watch, you see. And then because of Flash, he's going to fucking shit the show and fucking New 52 / old 52.
All right, I have to bring this to the group. I'm sorry to bring this up because I know we've talked about this movie in the past extensively. But I was just checking a website to see if there was any news that was prudent that we cover that we haven't already, and I stumbled onto a picture of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl's outfits from Batman and Robin, and I just have to describe these because of how awful this is. Like a set production video or photo where they're like they're all like standing in a well-lit room with a gray backdrop with their hands on their hips, very heroic pose. And first of all, they're black and silver, like you said. Batman and Robin look like they're wearing black suits with silver jock straps, which is just, I don't even know why you would go there with that. But then on top of it,
in the nuts.
But then on top of it, they all three have, so Robin and Batgirl's masks that cover just their eyes are both silver, which look ridiculous. Just like they look like face paint. And all three outfits have rubberized nipples. Which is
oh my god, I remember the nipples.
Which is the worst invention in superhero history. Why would
I
you
mean,
put
they're
rubberized
susceptible to nipple
nipples on
twisters
the
just like
outside of
normal
a
people.
suit? What?
Well,
I
dude,
mean,
they're susceptible to nipple twisters just like everyone else.
Oh no, not anymore. They're not. Not anymore.
Exactly.
they've
got-
got
That's why they
rubber
have cups
nipples.
on in
Sorry.
case they get kicked in the nuts, and they have ice skates on the bottom of their boots. So does Mr. Freeze's men. Would you imagine
God,
getting
that
kicked
was
in
the
nuts with
worst?
ice
I
skates?
can't believe you just revived
Oh,
it.
God.
Exactly. So
Where they
that's
both
why
kicked
that's
it out
there.
like
the nipple protectors. The nipple protectors are for the purple nurples of the fucking gangs. They fight dirty, dude. They're bad guys.
Why would you?
Okay.
Okay, as a superhero crime fighter, let me just put this out there. First of all, at the beginning of that movie, Batman had no idea who Mr. Freeze was. Okay, can we agree on
No,
that?
he did. He did. No, he did.
I mean, he had
talked
an
about
idea
him.
of who he was, but he didn't know that he was a supervillain that was like freezing shit everywhere. Okay, so
He had files on him.
he had files
Batman knows
on
everything.
he had
He had
files
files on
on the Doctor, but I
He
don't
had
think
files on Mr. Freeze too.
did he? Okay, well,
Yeah, because he talked about why he's doing it.
still, even so,
I'm just amazed that you guys have seen this recently enough to remember this shit.
Every couple years, I go through all my Batman.
I mean,
collections.
why not? You know, it's Batman.
Especially
when
It,
they got a
it
new
might
one, I
not
go
really
through all of
be
them.
Batman, but it's
Every
still,
few years ago, I look at the stack of things that I haven't gotten to yet, and I go, would my time be better served by reading something new or rewatching one of the worst Batman movies of all
yeah, but
time?
man, it's got that nostalgia
I'm gonna
value
re-
to it, dude. It's got, you know,
I'm going to look at Batman's nipples.
fuck it. I have
Or the
Batman
lack
Forever.
thereof.
I have Batman Forever on VHS. I throw that bitch in every once in a blue moon and
I
watch
don't
it.
even have a VCR to throw it in.
I do. I got the old school. I watch it totally old school style on the 13-inch TV VCR 1-unit combo
Wow.
deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
not
right.
that
I
old
don't even,
school.
I'm not even sure if I could find a working VCR.
I was
anymore.
gonna say, like, I have VCRs in my garage that are just.
I knew I had one
I have
somewhere.
a
but
top loader.
I think mine's
Oh,
not even
you're the
stereo.
top- oh,
I think mine's
man.
like a mono VCR.
Like, this
Yeah.
motherfucker engages, dude, like an AC-130. It's like.
My question is though,
no.
like, why as a superhero crime fighter, and you can obviously only include so much gear on your, on your person, in your outfit or whatever you carry, because of weight
utility belt.
constructions and shit. Like you can't just carry like 9 bazookas because that shit would be too heavy. You can't carry, there's a limitation on the amount of gear you can carry.
Well, if it's a bazooka, you just carry one bazooka and then 9 rounds.
How would ice skates in your boots make the cut? That's my question. Like, how?
Well, one,
at what point?
could
do
you imagine
are
how
what
fucking
point
much-
are you
how
like?
awkward-
Like, where do you hit that pivotal moment in decision making where it's like, damn, I should really put a button on my belt that makes fucking ice skates come out of the bottom of my boots?
Okay.
Well,
Here's
and
one up on
that's-
that. How
And
do
that's
you
why
run
he's
with
Batman
hidden
and
ice
you're
skates?
not.
How do you construct boots with hidden ice blades to where you're still able to fucking run and walk when they're not down?
Man, that's
You have to run flat-footed like
platform
this.
heels, platform shoes, man.
Yeah, but even platforms
What if-
gotta have. They have like the arch, the heel that goes up. It's a 2-piece.
What if it's like they lie flat along the sole and then they come out like this to make
Well,
them.
even so,
relate?
how do you bend? How do you go heel to toe and run?
I think
you know what
I
I
think
mean?
what we really need to do here is we need to put our minds together.
You need
do
to
it.
create
Develop-
a prototype.
I think we need to
Chris,
come
you
up with
make it?
a comic
Ice.
book Nerd Nation prototype for the Bat Boot ice skates. I think we could
Could you
totally
imagine
do this.
Here's what I see happening. I see
Somebody losing a
Chris getting
fucking
yelled
finger?
at because the president of our company will be walking into the research and development lab and see these ice skate boots sitting on a bench somewhere and ask Chris what's going on with this.
Nah, dude, he'll get totally.
That's
He'll
what
be
I see.
pumped about it. He'd be like, "What the fuck is that? Let's sell it."
Oh, that might be true.
He'd probably pull up a chair and be like, "All right, what are we working on?"
Yeah, show me how I can help. No, before winter. That's the challenge. Okay, before winter, we need to figure out a way to make this work.
And it's got to be spring loaded where we can hit our heels together.
I'll go
They
one
come
step
in
further.
right.
I'll go one step further. If we can figure out a way to make this work, I will skate on them on film and upload it to the YouTube channel.
Oh, that's worth doing right now.
That's how I'm serious about this. We will do this, and I'll get I'll get somebody from work with one of their like high dollar fucking video cameras to follow me to like an ice rink or somewhere, or maybe even Fountain Square.
Dude, I'll dress up
And
like
I'll
Mr.
fucking-
Freeze and let
There
you
it
attack
is.
me.
Yes, I'll wear a bat suit. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. I'll wear a bat suit. I'll get a Batman, a cheap ass Batman costume, and you can dress up like Mr. Freeze, and I'll fucking hit the button. The blades will pop out, and I'll just
gotta be
chase
doing it
you
from
around a
laying
couple
down.
times, and we'll call it a day, and then we'll go get
Do it from
lunch.
laying down position.
Oh
the thing.
fuck!
On the Batman topic, hopefully something that isn't quite as ridiculous. They've released new details about the new Arkham Manor series that's coming out.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, it's going to be coming out of some things that happen in Batman Eternal, and Arkham Asylum is destroyed. And Bruce Wayne basically offers up Wayne Manor to be the new asylum, and so he basically offers to let them convert Wayne Manor, his home, into a facility to hold all the these Gotham's criminals, while Arkham Asylum is non-existent.
I think that story is developing within Batman Eternal, because in the most recent issue, at the very last page or last few pages, we saw Joker's daughter running around free in Arkham Asylum, and she actually took Dr. Jonathan Crane, Scarecrow, took him hostage. And I think she alluded to the fact that we're gonna see the Joker, and my gut feeling is that they're gonna do something to Arkham Asylum, which is then gonna in turn lead into, it'll be one of the branches coming out of Batman Eternal that goes into Arkham Manor. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it makes sense, because let's take something that's completely, like Arkham Asylum. It's the craziest of the craziest, and the deadliest of the deadliest go there, and they constantly get out. So
What about the
Batman
deadliest of the
probably
craziest?
Yeah.
both.
All of it.
So then you have. So why
You don't
not
know
just
Dick.
move that into your house, so that way when they do escape, you could probably get them before they get out the front lawn, instead of always having to go there and work from there. So it makes sense.
On the Marvel front, they released some details saying that the whole Death of Wolverine thing, it's going to be a 7-issue miniseries. It's going to run until into December, and
So that shit
the
starts
plan.
like this month?
No, I believe September. I believe
So
it's September or
bi-weekly?
October it starts.
I thought it was this month.
No, because they're currently doing like the 2 months to die, 1 month to die, like
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So is
The actual
it going to be like a bi-week, like every other week type thing?
I don't know. I don't know, but it's going to be a 7-issue series called The Death of Wolverine: The Logan Legacy, and it's going to stretch into December, and or maybe maybe the Logan Legacy is a follow-up to The Death of Wolverine that goes into December. I don't know, but what they said was they're basically saying that long term they plan for Wolverine to stay dead for quite some time, and we've had some debate about this a few times as to how quickly before he gets resurrected, how's he coming back, when's he coming back. They've stated that they have no current plans on the radar to bring him back anytime soon, and that in fact they've got a lot of plans that count on him being dead for a while. So they said right now it's going to be pretty much, semi-permanent.
I might buy 2 copies. I might buy 2 copies of each of those books, because I see that potentially becoming valuable as a collectible.
Alex Alonso.
I don't think
Marvel
any
said,
modern comic will ever become money worthy like Bronze and Silver Age and even
Yeah,
Bronze Age, like more Silver.
it's hard to get the collectability of modern comics ever to the point where they were. I mean, because the reason they're
Everybody
so
buys them
collectible and they're
boards.
worth so much is because they weren't collectible at the time. People didn't, things with actual value, they only become collectible because no one was collecting them at the time.
Right.
You can't start out with something as,
Right.
and call it a collectible and have it multiply in value, multiple times over. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going
I
to
don't think
happen.
you'll
But
find any. I mean, any comic 90 and up is just
but
buy one. That's all you need.
I mean, this will be it will be an important one, I think. So, who knows? But I think it's anything that is collectible now is probably because people didn't know ahead of time that it was going to be an in-demand issue. Like look at the ones that people collect now from 10, 15 years ago. Some of the more collectible issues are origin stories for side characters. Like the first appearance
Rocket
issues
Raccoon
of a
is a big
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, of a character that that series didn't mean shit. When it came out, nobody said, "Oh, this is going to be a collector's issue. I need to make sure I hold on to this one."
It's not so much
the ones that
it's not so much the
are
issue. It's the movies that bring the monetary
Well,
value.
Well, I mean, in some cases, yeah, they've obviously been affecting values of comics, but I mean, like, look at Harley Quinn's first appearance in comics. Like that, that happened in the last 10 or 15 years, and
But the
that
animated
issue
series
has
made
become
that one popular.
She was originated in there.
She started in the animated series. Right. She was such a popular character already in the animated series that they put her into the comic books. And now, with how good her solo series is, recently, her her first appearance issue in the comics is actually worth way more times than it was, cover price. So, so it does still happen, but it's a little hard. It's a little harder to predict
judge,
which ones are going to be worth something, because the ones that everybody says, "Oh, this is going to be worth something," that's the one that everybody buys, and then it's not worth anything because so many people kept a copy of it in good shape.
Print numbers is another issue too with modern day comics. Like if you could gauge, like Nightwing #4 is worth probably more money than any comic in the New 52, as far as like on a price guide value. Like even Batman 1 first print is really only a $15 comic, but they sell them. People pay out the ass for them. But Nightwing #4 was like there was some type of mess up where they only ran so many copies, and a first print of that's like $40. Yeah. And that's what the book sells for. Not sells for, but the price guide sells for.
It'll be interesting to see, and I think part of what the value, if it does go up, is going to depend on how long Wolverine stays dead. If he comes back in 6 months, the death issue means nothing. But Alex Alonso, pretty much the editor-in-chief of Marvel, said that if
this is going to be a somewhat long-term thing.
Well, he said if people don't like having a Marvel universe without Wolverine, then they're going to be in trouble because there's no way they can bring him back anytime soon. So because they've got too much other stuff in the works that counts on him being dead. So it looks like this one might stick for a while, which is pretty interesting.
I think with the success of Avengers and everything else, I think they'll be fine.
I think so too.
Without Wolverine, because I think a lot of stories always get kind of twisted into Wolverine.
Yeah,
like there's always, especially their bigger stories, and it gets kind of old.
I like the idea of being able to see some of the stuff and how it plays out without Wolverine.
He was such a major character. He's always been an iconic character, but the fact that he was an X-Man and an Avenger, he just had his claws in so many things that it was practically impossible to do a story
without him
in the Marvel universe that didn't affect him somehow. And so, like, I understand that they wanted to put him in. He's a popular character, and and the way that he kind of straddles both worlds like that made him, kind of a go-to in that respect. Mm-hmm. But after a while, like, I'll be honest, as much as of an X-Men fan as I am, and as much as I like the character, I'm tired of seeing him.
Yeah,
so I'm
interested
to see where this goes. So the other big, the last one I got here is Speaking of Marvel characters that aren't going to be around anymore, currently there's a storyline going on in Captain America. Any of you read Captain America
No, I don't.
at all? Keep up on it?
Red. Actually, I have
Um,
it here. Was it 17?
well, spoiler alert for a few issues ahead of that. Captain America, I don't know exactly I've not read it myself, so I don't know exactly what's going on. But Steve Rogers is basically out of the picture. I don't know if he's been killed or put out of commission somehow. But Steve Rogers is not going to be Captain America anymore, and they're talking about who they're going to get to fill the role. And a lot of the speculation right now is going towards Sam Wilson, the Falcon, as filling in and becoming the new Captain America.
That could be interesting. I mean, it could be could end up being similar to a Winter Soldier. Same the exact same reaction that Pirate just had about a lot of people had that same reaction about the Winter Soldier being Bucky Barnes being Captain America when that happened, and that ended up becoming so popular.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought everybody was instantly sure, it's going to be Bucky Barnes.
No, there was a lot
It
of
made
there was a
sense.
lot of pushback about it though at first, and then
Made
the
sense to me.
opposite happened towards the end of that run. That a lot of people were like, "This is Bucky Barnes is the Captain America that I know." Who why are we going back to Steve? Who's this Steve Rogers guy? Why are we, So I think I say fuck it, try it out, see what you know what I'm saying.
I think it's a smart choice. It makes sense. And now you're going to have an African American character playing Captain America, which I think is neat. And I think they found a way to do it where they're using a character that makes perfect sense in that role.
Yeah.
I mean, Captain America and the Falcon, was a comic book for several
long
decades.
time. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it makes sense, and I think it's also another case of the cinematic universe affecting the comics, and that you get a character who gets really popular and who fits really well, and suddenly you see their popularity and their usage increase in the comic books as well. And after I'm sorry, I can't remember the actor's name, but after Winter Soldier, the movie, and the guy who played Sam Wilson and the Falcon in that did such an incredible job. And I mean, the script for that character I thought was great.
Yeah, I
And
really
so,
like that character a lot as well.
They really found an incredible way to incorporate him in and make him feel important and not marginalize him on the sidelines and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Make him his own character and not just feel like a sidekick. And I think that the strong response to that is probably fueling a lot of the hey. Why don't we have
Why don't
him
we put him center stage a little bit more in the comics? Yeah, I agree completely. I think it would be neat.
John, you clearly don't like it. Why not?
Well, the only reason why I don't really say that I don't like it because I don't see him having. I don't see him having the yes, he's military and all that, but I don't see him having the leadership that Captain America has with the Avengers. You know how he's not as fast and quick to call out things and make things happen from other people.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, but I think that that's part of what could really make it an interesting read as a book is
watching him struggle.
How he struggles with that and develops as a character into being able to do that.
Bucky Barnes wasn't a leader by any means either. I mean, most of his life he had been a brainwashed spy following orders from everyone.
That inner conflict.
He'd never led anything.
Yeah, that inner conflict within the character to break out of what is comfortable and his shell, so to speak, and become that leader that that the world needs. That I think that would be what would make that book popular.
And Captain America hasn't always been the leader of the Avengers at all times. Sure, that's a very common thing, but the Avengers.
Well, I'm talking about going forward though with what they're doing with the book.
But there have been Avengers teams. there have been Avengers teams without Captain America. Other people have led. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that Sam Wilson has to lead the Avengers. Someone else
Right.
could take
Well,
that
I'm
role.
just saying, my thing is, if you're going to take away Captain America, you know what I mean, then you need to put somebody in there who, especially when you talk about the crossover with the cinematic universe and the comic book and the effects that it has. If you're going to do somebody who has that role, the way that he's been portrayed, at least within the Marvel Now, if you want to use that term, I guess, because some of their comics, I don't know what is in the Now and what is not anymore.
Everything
I think
is.
they're going to replace Captain America. Is everything fully now in Marvel
Yeah.
Now?
But Marvel Now is just a branding thing. Like
Yeah,
that was not
it wasn't
that was not an
really
in-universe thing at all. Like
Yeah, it
that
wasn't
they-
like a reboot like New 52 or anything.
No, not a but like even like Deadpool, like issue 20 something was like the first issue of what it said Marvel Now or something. But anyways, regardless, I think that if you're going to replace Captain America as it is now, then you need to have a solid. Well, I guess like you said, the struggle part. I mean, it makes sense when you portray it like that, but I don't know.
I think that it would.
Getting rid of him sucks.
I think that yes, I agree that eventually he would have to be a solid leader. He would have to be that pillar of strength and virtue and everything that we know Captain America to be. But I think what would be a really interesting read is the development, the conflict, the struggle that Sam Wilson would have to go through as a person from where he is now to where he would need to be that iconic pillar of strength for the country.
I also want to see the in-universe public backlash aspect of it. I mean, Captain America's identity is going to have to be public. One would think, like everyone knows the name Steve Rogers in the Marvel universe.
Yeah,
It's a household name. If clearly, you can.
So how do you deal with the public reaction to that change?
You can put another white guy in the suit and and pass him off. But clearly, if
a black guy becomes Captain
If you
America,
have a black
how do
guy
you
as
deal
Captain
with the-
America,
right? Yeah.
people are going to notice that and they'll be like, wait, that's not the same guy. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
And then people are going to, the public's going to ask questions. They're going to have to answer questions about the identity. And here's the thing: Sam Wilson in the comics is a former criminal. He has a criminal record, and so it will be really interesting. I think it will be really interesting to see that dynamic of possibly the public, there being a backlash against
decision.
Captain America's legitimacy and how they handle the fact that it's a former criminal is now draped in the flag and being the symbol of American freedom and whatnot. So I think there's a lot of cool storylines they could do with that,
Yeah, that could be neat.
I'm excited to see.
Yeah. So that's about it for this week. We're pretty much out of time. I am very excited about the development of the Batscapes prototype. We will keep everyone up to date on how that project is going because we're definitely going to work on this. We're going to make some shit happen. It's going to be awesome. And if we can make it work, we will put it up in video form for you to see. Me as Batman chasing Pirate as Dr. Freeze, talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm Fox 2. We got the Pirate. That
We
worked.
have robot Pirate.
Yeah, he got the robot voice in there, and it really kind of worked for the Dr. Freeze moment. And we got Topher.
I want to see that.
It's going to be great. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll see you next week.